Today, on the Inside. Sports in the time of COVID. We'll talk to the girls' field hockey team about the changes. Movies. How are you watching them? Where are you watching them? Liam Flippin talks about his show, What's Up, and tells you what he's watching. After years of controversy, the Rebel name is out, and a new one is on the way. This is Walpole High School, and you are on the Inside.
Welcome to On the Inside. I'm Sophia Goodsell.
And I'm Liam Flippin. There has been a lot happening at Walpole High this year, and our reporters have been out getting the stories.
First up, the Rebel name is no more at Walpole High School. The school committee changed it over the summer, and there were strong views on both sides. Joining us, we have Leah Clifford. Leah.
Thanks, Sophia. People have many different opinions on the old name, so we looked into why the school committee decided to take up the controversial topic and why it was so important to do so.
I've listened carefully, read multiple emails that have come my way, and reflected on my time in Walpole.
Many people have their opinions about the controversial Walpole High School Rebel name, but due to the racist history of the name, it will be getting changed.
It is a unique name, but I think the connotation that it came with really had set this precedent that there was a lot of racism and racial undertones to the name.
We must take into account the association that weighs down this word. No amount of rebranding will change that.
Some students have been upset over the name change because it has been a part of Walpole for a very long time.
As a child, like many of our youth and students today, I did not think there was anything wrong with our mascot.
I remember going off to college and saying, I was from Walpole, and the rebels, it's a racist town. People, that did happen. I know that I have friends who say, that never happened to them. Well, that was my experience. It definitely did happen.
Some were confused on why the word rebel was considered racist.
The people were offended by the name Rebel due to the history associated with the Confederate flag and the song Dixie.
This summer, petitions started going around to get rid of or to keep the Rebel name.
It was something that we were going to really take seriously this time and to consider just how that does impact so many of our families and students in our community.
After many meetings, the decision was finally made to get rid of the name.
The motion is unanimous. The matter is settled. The town moves forward together.
For WHS News, I'm Leah, working with Molly.
Family traditions have been drastically changed this holiday season. Halloween was different, Christmas and Hanukkah won't be the same. This was also true for Thanksgiving. Brianna Gorman joins us with more. Brianna?
Thanks, Liam. Thanksgiving is a time that most people get together with their extended family to spend some time together and eat some good food. This year, things were much different.
Coronavirus has had people socially distanced with no in-person communication with their friends and family for months. As people shop and begin to prepare for the upcoming holiday Thanksgiving, a time to be surrounded by friends and family, we are left wondering, will people no longer socially distance?
Well, I think our Thanksgiving is just going to be people that live in the same household, so it won't really matter if we socially distance.
For my immediate family, we'll just hang out at our house and have dinner here. We usually do that every year, so we'll probably do that again.
My family doesn't have any solid plans. We'll probably either go to my cousin's house or my cousins will come to my house. We're going to try our best to follow the guidelines. We'll probably eat outside and wear masks when we're not eating, and then when we eat, we'll probably eat separated.
Many people have had to make a change of plans from their usual traditions on this holiday and give way to CDC guidelines.
My family usually travels to Florida to have Thanksgiving with my grandparents and my aunts on the other side of the family, but this year we won't be able to travel in order to keep our grandparents safe, so I'll be having Thanksgiving with my mom's side of the family instead.
Usually we just go to my family's, my cousin's house, but this year we decided to just have it all in our own houses.
Cases are continuing to rise in the United States. The United States has reported more cases in November than most countries have had all year, which has us questioning if anybody should travel, even if they plan on following guidelines.
I think if families usually travel somewhere else, they should just stay home. But if their normal plans are just to have
have Thanksgiving at home, then they can just do that still.
I think that people should try their best to follow guidelines, but I don't think it should stop them from being able to see family and like having a somewhat normal Thanksgiving.
Well, I think people should follow guidelines and be safe, but if they're safe, then I think they should still be allowed to see family.
Even though Thanksgiving will look different this year, most people's attitude toward the holiday hasn't changed.
Thanksgiving's not really my favorite holiday, so I'm not looking any less forward to it this year.
I'm still looking forward to Thanksgiving, even though it will look different. I'm excited to be able to like see some family that I haven't seen for a while and eat Thanksgiving food.
So I'm not a big fan of Thanksgiving, so I'm still not really looking forward to it.
No matter what your plans are this year, we hope you stay safe and healthy. Reporting for WHS News, I'm Brianna Gorman.
COVID has affected almost everything in our day-to-day lives, including high school sports. The girls' field hockey team is a prime example of this. Joining us now, we have Morgan head Saunier. Morgan.
Thanks, Sophia. Many sports have been affected by COVID this year and have experienced changes throughout the game. The girls' field hockey team experienced the new rules, and we talked to a few players about what they think of them. Due to COVID-19, most sports look a little different this year. The field hockey team here at Walpole High School has experienced some of the biggest changes.
One of the big changes are that we used to play 11v11 and now it's 7v7. So a lot of people were pushed down to the lower level teams.
Despite the changes, the team is still excited to play the game.
It's very competitive. It's fun. I like working with the freshmen as I am a sophomore.
On top of wearing masks and fewer players on the field, there are still more changes to the game.
Because we are not doing corners this year, and corners was basically a penalty.
Instead of a corner, it's taking the 25-yard line. It's just a hit in, which is a lot different because corners gave us a lot of scoring opportunities, and we don't have those anymore.
The teams are also set up differently this year.
The JV team is combined with freshman and sophomore.
So there are more, not cuts, but like less people on each team.
The players have not enjoyed the new changes and do not want to keep them for the future.
I don't really like the changes just because they're not really beneficial to us. So I would not like to keep any of the changes.
Even though there are many things that have changed this season, they're still having fun and doing very well.
We've had one not very good game, but the other two we've worked hard together and we're able to be undefeated so far, so that's good.
We're doing pretty good so far, even with the COVID-19 restrictions.
Working with Megan Gillis, reporting for WHS News, this is Morgan and Saunier.
Walpole High School has a way of getting information out to its parents and students. Michael Hennessy is here to talk more about how this information is sent out. Michael?
Thanks, Liam. Principals have lots of information that they need to get out to the community. Now more than ever, being able to communicate quickly is incredibly important. Here at school, Mr. Ambush uses ENotes. What are ENotes? It's the principal's way of keeping in touch, even if he's not sure if everyone is reading it. Walpole High School uses ENotes to update students and parents on what is happening throughout the school. ENotes are online, sent through email to students, staff, and parents. Mr. Ambush, principal at Walpole High School, collects information throughout the week, then puts it on the ENotes.
So ENotes it's an email communication that I send out every week. I've been doing it now for about 10 years. And it typically used to go to parents to kind of fill them in on what was going on at Walpole High School. And I've since sort of changed that to include students as well.
ENotes are sent out every Friday after school at the end of the week with lots of information about topics and events happening in school. There may be links on specific topics giving more detail.
Both parents and students will reply to something that I might have written on the ENotes and sort of say, hey, I saw on the ENotes that, what you're planning to do for, ventilation in the classrooms or something. Should I send my student with layers, or can my child wear a woolen hat now that it's getting colder in the classroom, that kind of thing.
Students and parents can email Mr. Ambush with any questions about the ENotes on an event or topic. There is also a link in the ENotes to email Mr. Imbush.
It's information. Sometimes it's important for you to read, especially if it's something that might have changed for attendance or something like that. It's one way that I have to get it out there.
Students and parents are not required to look at the ENotes, but it would be good to check it and read or skim through it every once in a while.
I guess one way of looking at that is how many people actually read the ENotes, right? I mean, out of 1,100 kids, how many of them are actually reading it? Maybe I should test it out sometime and see how effective it is. Maybe I could, bury somewhere in there a little incentive, like if you come down to my office at 9 o'clock, I'll give you $1, and see how many kids actually come down. Something like that, but we'll see.
Thanks for watching. This is Michael Hennessy with WHS News.
What type of music do you think the field hockey team listens to while practicing? Let's head over to Bridget Ryan to find out. Bridget?
Thanks, Liam. What do you do when your class can't be held in the building? Well, you have to improvise and maybe grab a pair of mittens.
We asked our music teachers a few questions regarding COVID-19 and how they are dealing.
Well, it's difficult.
Of course, performing outside seems like an easy solution, but as the colder months creep upon us, this won't be possible anymore.
Right now, we have to take a trek up to Porker Field to do our rehearsing, and we stand a minimum of 10 feet apart in a big, giant horseshoe.
Then we headed outside to see what a concert could be looking like this year.
The brainstorming process of doing either something in December, January, maybe if it's not too cold, but we do definitely want to do something in the spring just to give the kids the opportunity for that performance payoff, because we haven't had that since last December, which is really, really sad. So it's not going to be anything like a normal concert. It's probably not going to be very long, or the substance isn't going to be super vast, but having the opportunity, I think, is really important for the complete music department experience at the high school level.
The string instruments can be played indoors since the sound is produced from the instruments itself. Airflow isn't necessarily required.
The good news is, the fact that I get to work with two groups is a nice, change of pace for me. I get to kind of focus a little bit more on the individuals, but yeah, we've been lucky. We're a little spoiled in the orchestra that we don't have to worry about going outdoors. But yeah, it's affected us, but it's been working pretty well, I would say.
The holidays are going to be very different for everyone this year. The CDC and government officials urge everyone not to travel and just celebrate at home.
For some, it will be different. For others, some things are staying the same, like preparing the food, watching football, and eating with your family. If you didn't travel, perhaps a Zoom call with your relatives. If you did travel, some things were different for Ryan Wooler and Griffin Kern, who spent time with family, but with some rules.
Hey, what'd you do for Thanksgiving?
Thanksgiving, I went to my cousin's house and I wore masks and we had a thankful day.
Hey, what'd you do for Thanksgiving?
For Thanksgiving, I went to my cousin's house. We had to wear masks and I ate turkey.
Nice.
Reporting for WHS News, I'm Lukowski.
There are a lot of untold stories about the teachers here at Walpole High. Shri Hausdama has decided to dive into those stories. Shri?
Thanks, Liam. I just feel like there's a lot to explore with all these teachers around the school. I'm very excited to show the students that a lot of our teachers have interesting stories and relatable hobbies, especially in a time where socializing is challenging.
Tell me why you like doing this show.
It's kind of boring to sit in the classroom, in the corner, hidden away, not being able to get face-to-face with the teacher, especially teachers I've had in the past that I'm not going to have this year, like Mr. Solomons, Mr. Bacall, or Mr. Camper. So this was like a really nice opportunity to sit down with them, get a chance to know them a little better, maybe show other students how to get to know them a little better too. It's not like the teachers are like going out in the halls or like walking back and forth in between the halls. Like you can't walk, like say I'm going to like Mr. Sedge's or like Miss Hackett's room. I can't walk into Mr. Sedge's room and just say quick hi. Kind of a bad move, you know, knowing what's going on right now. So it's not like you see them during lunch either that much. They're pretty much by themselves in their own wings. So yeah, I feel like there's been a big disconnect, and I hope that this could help solve that a little bit. So your class, like when you get to know the teacher, it only gets that much better. Like half the class is you and your work, half the class is the teacher and what they're teaching you, what they're doing. You make that half better, your entire experience for your class gets better as a whole.
Movies have always been a big part of people's lives, but with many movie releases on hold, what's a movie lover to do? Liam Flippin is here with the upcoming releases and where you can find them.
So since it's hard to go to the theaters right now, it's really fun to hang out with friends and talk about movies and just make plans for the future on some things that you're going to go to. It's a good way to take a break from all of the heaviness that's happening in the world right now and to just talk about something that's interesting and fun. It's really been fun making the show because it's just an excuse to talk about movies and things that are coming up and looking forward to. I'm into a lot of the superhero and like action type movies. Pranav's also into some of the action type movies. And I got into it just from watching movies with my parents and going to the theaters. The show is fun because we get to talk about movies and just inform people about what's coming up and what to look forward to and just hang out and have a good time talking to each other. We'd like to thank you all for joining us on The Inside.
Let us know how we are doing. Send your thoughts and story ideas to WTV@walpole.k12.ma.us. We'll see you soon.